Very good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the afternoon session. We'll just wait for 2 more minutes so that everyone can join.
Hi, Harsha.
Yes, hi, Surbhi. Um, a very warm welcome to all of you all today. Thank you for joining. It's a very exciting session, and I personally also look forward to learn in this session. There is so much. There are such bright speakers that I can't even define. And in this session, we would be learning on designing AI tools for ESG and sustainability. And we have very, very accomplished speakers. The session would be moderated by Prabha. And I hand over this to Prabha so you can take the lead. Yes, Prabha, over to you.
Thank you, Harsha. As Harsha mentioned, this was really a great learning day since morning, and we have explored ourselves to the depth of AI and sustainability and their intersection. So now we want to take one step further and explore how to actually design these AI-enabled sustainability solutions. You know, AI has the potential to accelerate sustainability by transforming data into measurable action, and that's what all business needs today. How to measure how the impact that a business is creating outside to the world. So according to the estimates, AI enabled solutions could help reduce GHG by 520% in next 4 years, and buildings alone account around 37%. And so that is always then more opportunity for us on the AI driven optimization of available options in the world. So we look forward for this session where we talk about on designing AI for sustainability use cases. And I'm delighted to be joined by these excellent group of speakers who bring diverse expertise across their field. So we have Mr. Nikhil from JSW, we have Ms. Rashmi from Engage Solutions, we have Ms. Surbhi from Deloitte, and we have Ms. Dipshika from Gaviva. I would request each one of you, if you can introduce yourself for our audience. You can start, Nikhil.
Hey, hi. Thank you, Prabha. Thank you, Harsha and CSR for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm Nikhil Kulkarni. I'm working for JSW and I lead digital intervention, tech intervention for sustainability, energy, and utilities across JSW Group. I have around 16, 17 years of experience and looking forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. Yeah, Ms. Dipshika.
Yeah, thanks, Prabha. Good afternoon, everyone. Delighted to be a part of this session. I'm Deepshika from Gaviva, and I basically work on the client engagements, and I oversee the client engagements that we have over here at Gaviva, as well as I work with our tech team on the development of the product as well to make it more refined for the user journeys. Yeah. Over to you.
Thank you, Dipshika. So, Surbhi, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Prabha, and thanks, Harsha, for inviting me for this panel. Good afternoon, everyone. Looking forward to an engaging conversation with this esteemed panel and the attendees. I am a firm director with Deloitte, and I lead sustainability and infrastructure, tech strategy, and commercialization globally. And I've been with the firm for a long time, been doing sustainability and infrastructure since 3 years. So very deeply entrenched into how technology can help solve for some of the key challenges that our clients are facing when it comes to sustainability in infrastructure? How can technology help them make sustainability the fabric of the organization?
Yeah, that's nice. I think that would be that's what we are discussing today, and that your insights would really be helpful here. So yeah, thank you, Surbi. Rashmi, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Delighted to be part of this conversation on a topic that's very, very close to my heart as well. I have had a ESG corporate career of around 12 years with MSCI, and then I started on my own. My company, which I founded, is called Engage Solutions. It's a ESG advisory sustainability consulting company. We look at all the consulting services that are provided by standard houses. Apart from that, we do invest a lot in climate technology, innovated climate products, as well as we have our own app, which is a sustainability wellness app, which helps to incentivize citizens or employees for taking sustainable lifestyle choices and how they can really make an impact to the community. So yeah.
Thank you, Rashmi. I think this sustainable wellness is something unique that it's very different that we are hearing, and it will be really good to have
Sure.
you here. Yeah. So, starting our discussion, so I would like to ask Mr. Nikhil, so there is organizations today are flooded with ideas around AI, so but not every use case delivers meaningful sustainability outcomes. So, with your sustainability experience and the transformation journey that you are part of, so what your experience says, like what framework should organizations use to identify and prioritize AI use cases? That can really create a measurable value for the business, and what are the operational areas these where AI consistently delivers the highest ROI basically?
Thank you, Prabha. I think that's a great and valid question, rather a fundamental one, because many times what happens is we start with some journey, and then we eventually land up somewhere in middle. And typically, what happens, we the project fails. Uh, when you are considering, you need to take baby steps. It's okay to start small, but you should look at what long-term vision you have. It is also important that when you are planning a project or identifying a technology, you are clear what you want out of it. uh,
Okay.
Spending good enough amount of time in defining problem statement is very important. Typically, people tend to get into conclusion mode very fast, or they get married to their idea. That's not the way to look at it. You need to look at what exactly is the objective, what you want to achieve out of it. It might be a small thing that you're going to get in the beginning, but that's okay. uh, have small early successes and then eventually grow and be ready to fail. As I said, if you're married to your idea, you're eventually going to end up in a situation where you started something and in middle you got lost somewhere. It happens with every project, even the most successful ones. You get lost somewhere, and then the project fails. So that's not how you should look at it. You define what you want, spend enough time on problem statement definition, define what is your low success criteria, mid success criteria, and high success criteria. After that comes the actual implementation of AI. In today's world, I think AI is the most abused word and technology. Anybody would come and tell you, hey, we have AI. The AI is going to come and then it's going to replace this, that, and the best thing that they say is you don't need Excel anymore. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, you need to realize that what exactly AI means. It's a to start. It's a very good idea to have a very basic course across organization where they define what is AI, what is machine learning, what is LNN, and then a basic jargon. Many times people come, they tend to tell you some high fundu jargon, polished folks coming into well suited, then give you some interesting stories. But when you start digging out and start assessing that if there is real meat to it, many times you realize that's not the case. It's okay to be ambitious, but have a roadmap, have a journey plan that I am starting here. 6 months, I wish to achieve this, and then keep on iterating. Agile is something that remains forever. But with that, I think the nice framework I would suggest is to assess what you want to do and spend enough time in problem statement definition. that's very critical. Your fundamentals don't change. Thank you.
That's a great point, Nikhil. Identifying the problem statement, unless we identify what we really need, we enter into a lot of different portfolios and we really get lost, as you have already mentioned. That was a great insight. So, if you can just let us know, which industries are leading these transformations right now, any examples that you can just lead up?
Sure. See, the typical technology maturity curve differs from industry to industry.
Okay.
So if you take, say, BFSI, they would be far ahead of the curve or for early adopters. Because when it comes to security or AI penetration risk, all of these things, when they are in picture, they are advanced. Of course, everybody is looking into it. No sector is not looking at it, but BFSI tends to be ahead of it because that's where the crux of it lies. There are a few laggard industries where, like infrastructure. Uh, they are doing certain bits and pieces where AI is being used. However, that's an industry which is catching up, because to make any change, there is a large transformation that comes into picture. If you want to say, if you are having a road building project, a national highway building project, from idea coming to somebody's mind and actual implementation might take, in India it may take even 20 years, right? So if you realize how much transformation or how much land excavation, how much things are going to come into picture and how much time will be passed when we start changing a technology which is defined in the beginning, it takes a lot of time. So that's why industries which have longer project cycle time, they tend to adopt a bit slower. If you go to oil and gas, again, uh, that's where you see a lot of adoption because they want to do a lot of emission reduction and so on. Uh, if you when come to JSW, we are in steel. Steel is the biggest business for us. I spoke of oil and gas because I'm a petroleum engineer by background. But coming to steel, I think steel, cement, paints, all of these are hard to abate sectors. I can tell you for sure, we are taking positive steps. We are
Okay.
implementing AI. There are a few low-hanging fruits and there are a few ambitious projects. Here we have defined our tech interventions in three aspects. One is, of course, thought leadership. Second is our commitment, and third is intervention or initiatives where we can reduce emissions. So, of course, thought leadership is there are a lot of initiatives we are assessing how we can reduce further and uh, connecting it to next our commitments. So every year there are many disclosures that we have to file. Every disclosure has needs similar data, but then the formulae vary many times, or the wording, the question wording, underlying wording has to be different when you're submitting it to certain institutions, because sometimes they want to assess your finances, sometimes they want to assess your KRAs, sometimes they want to assess your commitments, sometimes it's just government compliance that you have to submit to SEBI. So these are different requirements. So once you have your data, you can use these different AI models to generate the right reports. We are constantly working with various tech providers and innovating certain ideas where we can build these tools. We are also having our own data lake where everything is coming into one picture, and it's a massive exercise. JSW likes to be in tech intervention. We like to be a forefront in the big in the front runners. Again, cement, similar story. There are few initiatives where power demand is a very critical aspect. One demand of one steel plant need of power demand is equivalent to a maybe small city. It's massive demand that steel plant needs. So how we can optimize, how we can reuse our associated gases. So recycle, reuse is something that we are doing. Again, optimizing our gas consumption and how much power we are taking from the national grid. That's something that we have to take care of, because at the end of the day, it's responsible consumption as well. Because we have to make sure if we pull more power, is going to affect surrounding areas. So this kind of initiatives, which might not immediately directly sound sustainability, they sound cost, but hey, you're ultimately reducing power consumption. So sustainability, as our CSO says, sustainability is in every part of the business, and we truly live by it. So there are many such examples. I can go on and on, but
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, yeah.
there are real life
That's
examples. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So just one more thing into this, as you said, there is a lot of data available, and our problem statement is different. Industry-wise, the requirements are different. So, do you find organization often investing in wrong AI initiatives? So You're
Sorry, I was
one. Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Honestly, it happens, and it's not wrong AI initiative. There is nothing right or wrong. Look, AI is at nascent stage. Everybody says AI is there, AI is there. Hey, is there, but it's still at nascent stage. Yeah. So you are going to hit a couple of areas where there would be miscalculations. There would be misappropriations of your ambitions. Things would be too ambitious. You might figure out, you should have thought of something bigger, but you don't. You end up doing something small. So these things happen. There are various types of AI models, or there are various types of models that come into picture, various technologies, and what you're going to choose. You're going to choose, if you're going to choose random forest or something else. Again, you have to choose what model implementation you're going to do. Now with generative AI coming to picture, everybody wants to show generative AI. But if you see, Amazon has been on my phone for at least 10, 12 years, and Amazon has been giving you string search option. Somewhere it's not generative AI, but it's AI. It's going out, figuring it out what it should show you. So there are things which have been there in the past, have been there for forever. So as I said, don't get married to your idea. Be ready to be agile and move on very fast. So people do that, uh, and be careful about what contracts you're signing. Recently, a couple of days back, there was a news that one of the big tech companies exhausted their 2 years budget in a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
of
I
days.
was about to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it actually depends on how the contracting mechanism. It has
Yeah.
to be a win-win situation for everyone. uh, Initially companies try to do arm twisting. Once you get into that, it's like a lion's cage. There is no chance to get in, but there's a chance to come out. So be
Yeah.
careful about what you're
Yeah.
choosing. Yeah, so
That's nice. Thanks, Nikhil. Yeah, so I would like to have question to Miss Surabhi, basically. So your experience, you have been long time in Deloitte and being a sustainability leader there, you know. So just wanted to understand. So many organizations have separate AI strategies and separate sustainable strategies, often managed, you know, there are different teams with them. So how can business leaders integrate basically these two agendas, the AI basically where the AI becomes a strategic enabler for sustainability rather than just an initiative.
I think this is a burning question for many organizations, and there are organizations which are kind of working through it. You know, people are at different stages of the journey. I would say the some of the things that I believe would work is, firstly, how do business leaders shift their thinking from looking at AI and sustainability as, say, two siloed initiatives that they want to run in the organization, to embracing a sustainable by design ethos, which means how do they really embed sustainability and AI into the core of their organization and into the core of their digital transformation initiatives. Now, what does this mean? Like we were just discussing there, when we don't know something, when a technology is new or a space is new, we are also leaders, C-suite executives are concerned about the amount of investment you make. So you'll take a bolt-on solution which can solve for a point in time challenge. But how do organizations start thinking of creating a more integrated architecture where AI is the engine that processes operational, financial, and environmental data in real time? So essentially, the goal for organizations would be to move from isolated projects to an integrated platform approach where they streamline compliance, they advance climate intelligence through technologies like AI, digital twin, deepen customer engagement, and this could help them make AI, uh, make sustainability more core to the business. So at the end of the day, if we continue to look at sustainability as a separate challenge to solve for, we are likely to attract limited budget, limited value. But the minute we start linking it to business performance, we embed it into what we do on a day-to-day basis. So we say sustainability should be part of your BAU. It should not be a separate topic on the agenda. So any decision you're making, sustainability should be, like, it should be there core, not like, oh, we've thought of 5 things, oh, by the way, now bring in sustainability. So I think it's shifting the mindset about making sustainability core to your business and identifying the business value, and there is enough evidence that implementing sustainability initiatives can be value accretive to an organization, and typically that cost factor evens out over a period of time.
Yeah, that's nice insight. We have to shift the mindset where we need to relook as it being the core of the business. That's
Yeah.
really nice. So, with this, what governance will work over this, overall when we plan this as a strategy integration? So, what governance will best work for that?
Yeah, I would say, so firstly, whether you're anything, when you're implementing anything new, you don't have to start everything from scratch. In the sense, when it comes to your overall governance, companies should leverage their existing risk, data privacy, compliance frameworks, and bring in AI and sustainability. When it comes to ownership, the ownership should not reside with a single leader, like a chief sustainability officer or a chief technology officer. Rather, it should be a joint responsibility of the CSO, the CIO or CTO, and the business leaders. So typically, the way I think of this is that a more effective model is when you have this, where the CSO actually acts like the person who's defining the what. What sustainability outcomes do you want to derive for your organization? The CTO or CIO is doing the how part of it. So if you want to use technology, what kind of tech architecture should we have in place to make this relevant, to make this cost effective? And ultimately, the business leaders are the one who are basically defining the so what from this. So how do you basically look at adoption on a day-to-day basis? How are you focused on those metrics and measurable outcome? So this in a way ensures that initiatives are not just technically sound, but they're also driving tangible business and sustainability value. For example, establishing a central AI enablement team, complete with program leadership, control tower, agile delivery teams, can be highly effective in scaling multiple AI use cases uh, in parallel. But I would say ultimately the ownership is shared, but the vision has to come from the top. The top leadership, if they position AI enabled sustainability as a driver of business value and not just a cost center, it empowers the cross functional teams to move beyond isolated projects, take a more holistic, scalable, enterprise wide approach for bigger, better impact. I mean, it's more like it transforms sustainability from something you have to do into a more powerful narrative on how you can run your organization more better, become more resilient, and make your business more competitive.
Yeah, very well said, Surbi. I absolutely agree. The transformation or the journey has to be start from the top business leader so that we actually integrate the strategy into the digital transformation. Thank you, Surbi. That was really a great insight. So I just move on to Ms. Dipshika. So you have been with Gaviva for a long time now, and you are into all reporting. So I just wanted to understand, ESG reporting has evolved significantly in these last past years, but organizations still struggle with the data, fragmented data, and the manual processes are still exist, and there is a lot of reporting, different frameworks are available. So how can AI fundamentally transform your reporting into ESG from data collection to analysis and the board level presentations and decision making?
Right. I think you identify the crux of a main challenge that is there in ESG, right? Data, whether it's collection, whether it's completeness, right? And also your outcomes are only as good as the data that, they are built upon, right? And this is where AI, is being increasingly used to reduce manual effort. It doesn't completely eliminate Excel sheets. I agree with Nikhil on that. But what it does is that it can take a lot of unstructured data. It can take bills, images, excels as well, and it can not only utilize that in line with the reporting content of different formats that are required, right, but it can also then analyze and provide insights on the basis of that. It can identify anomalies. It can identify where there are missing data points that are there, and all of these, they get discovered sooner or later, when you are manually doing a reporting process. But with AI, it just, as you said, it accelerates it as well, the discovery process, but also the improvement of that, right? And also now you have multiple tools that, can extract information from already existing documents. You can reuse, you can, as I said, map to different frameworks. So from a data collection perspective, AI is really helping with reducing the amount of time that people were spending doing things manually. Okay. And again, increasing accuracy as well, because AI helps you identify patterns, right? And as I said, where things may potentially be missing. Now, evolving from that, what it can also do, once your report is complete as well, is that it can help you do things such as benchmark where you are compared to your peers, right? And one, word of caution is that none of these is complete without a human layer of judgment. It's not a magic wand, right? You do need to have that consistently, but it can be a very good starting stone in actually showing you, okay, this is where you're compared to your peers. These are the potential areas of risks, right? And these are the areas where you may need to focus on the most in terms of things that could be material to your business. So in that way, it moves from reporting to actionable opportunities, and exactly the kind of projects that, companies such as JSW, Google is actively doing a lot of things, utilizing AI for the benefit not only of Google, but also for the public, right? So in this way, AI can really, it minimizes the time spent. It can't completely eliminate the issue when it comes to data, right? Because it's still reliant on a person putting things in the first place, right? But it can fast track those, the areas of concern, and also it can give you actionable insights.
Yeah, thanks, Dipshika. That was really a great insight. Actionable insights for the management is that's what end of the day everyone look after, so that we can take right decisions at the right time and we work towards it. So there is a lot of processes involved in this entire reporting structure of the life cycle, So what do you think would be the core which part of this reporting life cycle, basically benefits you the most out of the entire life cycle?
Where AI benefits in the reporting life cycle, I would still say at a data stage, right? So you can put in, say, bills, you can put in your policies, you can put in any other documents, and the AI can create, an answer for you, or the AI can help you fill out a disclosure. So it's still at the report, the data collection and the disclosure writing. It can also draft narratives for you. Right. So I think that's where currently the benefit is being seen the most, but that's also where the maximum challenges and pain points exist right now.
So, as we say, this is the main benefit, and even the challenges exist, So, are we really ready? Are the organizations really mature to understand this? Ki my exact benefit lies here, or I use this properly, my data is properly inserted. All this life cycle journey. How the organization today is matured enough to take this ahead?
I would say it depends. Like, some organizations are definitely much more mature, right? But for other organizations, it's also a bit of a learning curve. Like, AI is not as I said, it's not a magic wand, right? It still depends on what are the layers of governance that you have, especially with your data governance, right? And at the end of the day, you need to understand that even nobody's going to trust a report completely generated by AI, right? It needs to be traced
Yes.
back to someone who's putting in the data in the first place, right? So having those trails, having that traceability is key. Until that, and that's not an AI problem. That's, as I said, it's a
Again,
data governance problem, right? So till that is not solved, then you will not be able to reap the maximum benefits out of it.
Yeah. Thanks, Dipshika. I think couple of things I take it is, the human intervention, human governance is very important, and the traceability of the data that we always look forward for that, so that all this is managed properly, basically. Thanks, Dipshika. So we move to Rashmi, Miss Rashmi. So, When Rashmi, you are an founder and you are interacting with a lot of climate tech companies. You are doing a lot of additional things with your organization. So, interesting that whatever, when you introduced yourself. So, especially that wellness, that is really interesting part. So just moving ahead with this, as organizations, accelerate AI adoption, concerns around ethics, bias, privacy, and even AI's own environmental footprint are becoming increasingly important. So how should organizations, you think, should design AI systems that is both responsible and aligned with these principles, so that from the outset, rather than addressing these concerns later on? So how we look into this ethics part?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'd like to say that, fellow panelists have already covered a lot on the policy requirements, the challenges that are there, and the opportunities that, we can really leverage. And I'd like to start with saying what I always say about ESG is that ESG always starts with G. Until and unless the governance part is, strong enough and the commitment is there at the top, it is extremely difficult to achieve all the sustainability benefits that the company is set out to achieve. With that, to answer your question, basically what I feel is sustainability and responsibility, they can't be retrofitted. It should be embedded within the system from the get-go. Just like we have fire systems which we design into buildings, we don't do it after the occupation is complete in the building. We do it with the building design, which is how responsibility and sustainability should work. It has to be part of the original brief. So, for example, all your today investors, the regulators, the ESG rating providers, all these agencies, they are treating AI governance as an extension of the ESG governance module. So, if you look at the EU AI Act or the DPDP Act or even the BRSR framework, they basically are very clear about the fact that if the AI or the AI data cannot be explained or audited or justified, then it's basically not helpful. It's actually a liability. So, like you said, AI has a footprint, and that cannot be overlooked in the overall scheme of decision making. So, when it comes down to, say, five uh, I would say, it could come down to just 5 decision choices that should be made upfront when we are looking to deploy AI in any shape or form. So first is purpose and decision. Like, is the AI actually solving the problem? Like, is the problem solving worth the compute that we will be deploying it? Can it be done, say, by a simple dashboard or an automation that can be done by software, uh, rather than just using AI because it has to be used? One is that decision is very, very important. The second is data integrity. We spoke a lot about that. Like, is the data that is going to be used to educate the system, is it consistent? Is it representative? Is it free of bias? That's very important. The third, which is something that we all would somehow struggle with, is the explainability. Is the data or the output that we receive from the sustainability AI models, is it explainable in boardrooms, in courtrooms, in audit? When that happens, is that the explainability is an important factor. Then, because we're talking about footprint, there has to be a budget for the footprint, which means that what is the acceptable energy and the energy and computing cost of this decision, right? That has to be part of the decision making. And then the last one is accountability. So who owns the outcome if the data outcome or if the model were to go wrong? So that's extremely important. So these are, I think, 5 decision parameters that can really do the trick, or say help with designing a decision. So if I take a use case, say, of a smart building, so we are designing for a smart building and we need to reduce energy level. So we are deploying AI systems to reduce the energy costs, right? Through a lot of regulation on the electricity charges, the HVAC and things like that. But what essentially should also be considered is that it should not compromise on the well-being of the employees that are there. The temperature should not be regulated at a level where it's too hot for employees to actually, they're not comfortable. The misuse of the occupancy data, or the decisions should not be such that they cannot be overridden by the facility manager. So these are things that have to be going in the human factors, or say the responsibility agenda that has to be embedded when you design these systems.
Yeah, yeah. That I think one point I liked, you mentioned about the cost of the energy that is being required, that has to be
Yeah,
analyzed beforehand. I think that is very important point because right thing has to be used at the right time and to the limit of what we use, basically. It should not be like everything. I think, as Nikhil mentioned, someone just utilize the entire budget, so that should not
exactly.
go beyond.
Yeah.
So I think that is a very important point. So, when we discuss about this ethics and everything that what we require, so do you think we really need kind of an ethics committee, AI ethics committee to be put over this? Obviously, accountability is there. So, what is your thought process? Do we really need AI ethics committee in place?
Yes, but only if it has teeth. Like without that, it's just a false reassurance that you're giving to the board and the external stakeholders. So I think the trigger to decide if you need the AI ethics committee is very straightforward. Any AI that touches a customer decision or an employee decision or an external disclosure, if these are factors that are in consideration, then it should always be mandatory to have a governance body sitting above it, because right now you're talking about customer decision making, employee decision making, external disclosures. So you are actually exposing the firm to certain reputational, financial, organizational risks. So there has to be a governance body, and it should be a body that has cross-functional expertise, which is, you should have people from business, from sales, service, IT, legal, finance, marketing, everything, and then maybe business leaders, and also, like we have in other committees, make an independent voice, which should be able to, give an unbiased opinion. And then the accountable, they should be reporting to, say, the board, the ESG committee in the board, or the risk committee in the board. And above all, it should have a clear mandate and a voice. Like it should be able to say no.
Thank you. Thank you, Rashmi. That was really a great insight from your side. So again, I move to Mr. Nikhil, quick question. So we now have sensors, IoT devices, digital twins, and a lot of massive volumes of operational data across the utilities, factories, and infrastructure. So still, many organizations still struggle to convert this data into actionable insight. So how can AI basically help bridge this gap? And basically, can you share if examples where AI has significantly improved the energy efficiency into this?
Yeah, sure. I think that's a very good point. What's happening is many times this infrastructure is available, but one fundamental point that happens is taking a decision to go ahead and install these things. Look, AI comes at a cost. It doesn't come free, and there is a lot of cost associated to it. So if you are ready to take that step, then having that mindset to go ahead and do it is the first thing. At JSW, we have implemented, there are sensors implemented across various factories. We have digital twins created. We are using various models. So now, for example, there is this use case where what happens is many times, so there are these flare stacks, and at one particular place we have achieved almost gold standard globally, and now we have to do the next steps, take it ahead and set new gold standards in the world. And to do that, the gap was, there is a very technical gap. So in that chimney, at the top of the chimney, the where the flare is happening, uh, you it is not measurable, because
Okay.
many times the top of the chimney becomes red or something like that, and the reading is wrong. So we have used vision based AI intervention to identify what exactly is the flare volume, and then that is a real time calculation that we are taking into our account. And we are now having a new gold standard since last 6 months established, and we are able to maintain it. It's only the steel frame that is needed for safety purpose that is there. Otherwise, we are able to consume almost all the gas, excess gas, associated gas that's getting produced. Now there is a very huge gas network that happens when you have a steel plant, And if you look at the steel plant, it's as big as a city. So Vijayanagar happens to be the biggest steel plant in the world. So optimizing gas coming in from different gas is getting generated, and there are many places where the gas can be consumed and power can be generated, energy can be generated. So optimizing this balance and using maximum of all the gas and reducing dependence on external power is something that comes into picture. So it needs a definite AI intervention where the AI models are trained. They analyze, or depending on the situation or current operational status, they analyze and predict what is going to be the next demand after a certain period of time. Now there comes the other aspect of uh, uh, predictive maintenance. I'll give a very interesting example. Many times everybody speaks about power or gases because they come at a cost. And cognitively, most of the organizations or many people tend to miss out water when it comes to cost calculations. Because in India, comparatively, water is much cheaper. But that's so while we do that at JSW, we are very cognitive about that. We have put up some intervention where we are analyzing our sensors. So what happens is there is a water flow continuous. So we are procuring water from some nearby reservoir. There is a dedicated place where water storage happens, and water comes to our facility, and then there is some treatment that happens. But in the meantime, you need to make sure that your sensors are measuring it right. If there are say if there is some magnetic systems that is coming along with along with water, and it can be contaminated, but there might be some percentage, but that might affect your sensor and give you wrong reading. And now just imagine, instead of 100 meter cube per minute, it's showing me 60 meter cube. So 40 meter cube I'm consuming, but it's not getting counted, and my whole process is getting disrupted. So now it's very important to have my sensors in doing right thing. So the AI model is also testing certain sensors, that if the reading coming in is correct or not. Sometime back, Deepshikha mentioned about gaps in the data. There are various places in the organization where data is residing in different shapes and forms. Bringing that data to one place, there might be certain gaps where you don't have data. So create what would the data, what would the data be for that particular gap period, is something where you can use predictive analytics and basics of AI to do that. A very simple use case. In India we use distance in kilometer. In US they
Miles.
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 So yeah, now there might be certain plant which is acquired. Yeah, they might be using some different methodology or different time series to collect the data. So making sure there are two data sets that are coming in are of the same unit and same frequency, and if not, then matching that is a classic case where AI adds tremendous value. These are low hanging fruits, as I was saying. These are low hanging fruits, but we often miss them because we think that let's reduce number of headcounts using AI. It doesn't happen that way. So you need to look out where AI is going to add value. And of course, yeah, as you said, again, these are various examples, use cases where there is direct sustainable impact. And yeah, of course, here we have a dedicated person like me along with my team, who are their job is to only make sure that we are implementing tech for sustainability. So yeah.
That's nice and really good examples that you have given. Thanks, Nikhil. Yeah. So moving to Surabhi, so just considering the infrastructure of the future, so we often hear about smart cities, intelligent buildings, and connected supply chains. So looking ahead to, maybe 5 to 10 years down the line, so how do you envision AI reshaping this sustainable infrastructure, and which emerging technologies that you believe will have the greatest impact here?
Yeah, Prabha, your questions are all very relevant and timely. So I would say that over the next decade and beyond, we see infrastructure moving, from being just concrete and steel to becoming more dynamic, responsive, and intelligent assets. And as you rightly pointed out, I think it's not going to be AI alone. While we talk about AI, but there are other technologies that will interact with AI that will converge together to create the greatest impact. And the three technologies that we believe would have a significant impact are IoT, geospatial data, and digital twins. So think of it this way. IoT sensors give our infrastructure a nervous system to collect the data. Geospatial technology provides an environmental context around it. Now, digital twin gives us a living virtual replica of our physical assets. But AI is the brain that actually makes sense of it all. By bringing these together, we are able to see, sense, simulate, and steer infrastructure assets. So, as an example, Deloitte has launched Infrastructure Insights Pro, an AI augmented tech solution that essentially takes massive amount of public and private asset management data, ingest it, and use AI technology, geospatial technology, so that users are able to interact with massive data in plain English. Now, what this does is it allows companies to move from reactive monitoring to proactive monitoring and more autonomous optimization. So, you mentioned supply chain. Like, we've seen instances where using a combination of these technologies can help companies automatically reroute supply chains to avoid climate related disruptions or balance energy grids in real time. This helps users reach actionable insights very quickly, drive smarter decision making, and also enable predictive foresight. So, through AI, we can see exact climate impacts with spatial context. We can sense environmental and operational changes in real time. We simulate future scenarios like how a 50-year storm might impact a specific supply chain route. And ultimately, we steer towards decision making that is more informed. It's backed by data that's pulled from sources that weren't even available or still not available to many organizations, given we rely on say traditional methods of collecting data sitting in silos and different systems and things like that. So as a result, uh, as we build the infrastructure of the future, the goal should be how do we use these technologies, AI in combination with, say, digital twin, geospatial, and IoT to make these assets more resilient and sustainable.
Thank you. I think I take one brilliant sentence from you, stimulate and steer. That's really a good one. So, thank you, Surbhi. So I just move again to Dipshika. So I think you had already mentioned about the data. So again, asking one more thing on data, AI is basically used to generate insights, narratives, and sustainability reports. So as investors also demand this transparency. So how should organizations ensure, the outputs remain accurate, explainable, and trustworthy?
Right. I think that's a very relevant question, right? Considering now, I think you have all of the top 1,000 companies that need to get their BRSRs, assured, right? At least the BRSR core aspect, and there are a couple of ways of doing it, but one underlying theme is that there always needs to be a human to make the judgment calls, right? You cannot, simply publish something that has been put in by AI. Okay, you always need to have that human level coming in. AI is not replacing people; it's just it's augmenting their productivity. To be honest, right? And you need to have and document first and foremost where exactly is AI being used. So you need to have the documentation clearly mentioned. You need to map out those protocols as well, right? Because for example, someone put sensitive information in ChatGPT, right? What are the implications of that? That also is a very very important point regarding data security. So all of those SOPs and all need to be made first and foremost. And secondly, when it comes to AI, it could be that someone who's putting in data could use AI as well, but having that validation done by a person or a reviewer needs to also be put in place. So again, I keep going back to data governance, right? So someone puts in data, someone needs to still validate that data, and that is what goes out into your report, because that is what can be traced back. But also, when it comes to using AI, what is the source that it has used? for putting out that number, right? Is it one document? Is it multiple documents? That also needs to be clearly brought out as well. Otherwise, you will not have that traceability. So having those data governance mechanisms in place with respect to having people who are responsible for putting data, using AI, people who are checking that data, what kind of evidences can be used for it as well, right? And oversight before publishing. These are the clear things, and documenting all of it and having proper SOPs in place with respect to AI. And I think Rashmi had mentioned about having the the committees as well, right? So having that spearheaded by the committee and then trickling down into the organization is very key, because only then, with all of this, will people be able, like investors, be able to trust what you are putting out.
Yeah, that's a great insight, Dipshika. I know, I think the committee would obviously help, and having the transparency would help us to have a trustworthy data output. Thanks, Dipshika. So moving again to Ms. Rashmi, greenwashing, when we talk about, that's really a thing that is on board right now in eyes of everyone, so it remains the biggest challenges in this corporate sustainability. So one hand, we can improve the transparency as we just spoke with Dipshika, so for by better analytics and having the governance and monitoring. But on the other side, it can also generate misleading narratives at scale. Possibilities there, So how can we ensure, or the organization ensure, AI strengthens credibility instead of increasing greenwashing risk?
Yeah, like you said, right? This is the same tool that can prove a claim and can
Yeah.
also manufacture one. So I think greenwashing used to be a communications problem. With AI coming in, it has turned into a systems problem, because we are using the system to manufacture certain claims. And I think Deepshika very well outlined what are the protocols that need to be put in place, and the regimen that needs to be put in place for us to be able to at least fight a claim should one arise, despite we putting enough measures in place. So my rule basically is very simple. AI outputs must be evidence grade and not marketing grade. So if we work with that sort of overarching principle, then there are some design principles that can also be applied, saying that every number that the AI touches must be traceable, because it's learning from those numbers and giving you the output. So those should be traceable. The AI measurement tools should be different from your AI communications tools. If you make them the same, that's where I think the problem starts to emanate. So if you have an AI measurement system which is independent of the AI communication system, those are, I think, in a way to better manage this entire problem. And I think the rule number one is design this whole system for audit from day one. You should have version controls in place, you should have timestamps, you should have all your human approvals, human sign-offs in place. There's a proper strategy that Deepshika spoke about that should be in place. So from day one, your design has to be audit proof or audit ready, and never let the AI output um, speak faster than your evidence. And what can be done to establish this in terms of the controls, again, it's the same thing, the design principles. And then one needs to keep an inventory of every single AI system the company is using for sustainability work. So if you have an inventory of that, it's easier to manage. That's the starting point. Then you also decide very clearly what AI is supposed to do and what it's not supposed to do. Not supposed to do, I mean that it should do it, but it can't get deployed without a human sign off, for example. So that's something that needs to be very, very clearly outlined. And then every quarter we need to see that how much data output that's been reported is actually traceable to the source. So you have a percentage that can be a KPI that you can create, where you say that the amount of output that we've created, this much percentage of data we were able to trace back to the sources. So you know how auditable your data or the output is. And we a lot of organizations also get auditors to check their AI systems. But I'd say that you get the same auditor to check the AI system as well as the output. So then there is a sync that can be managed.
Yes.
And I think I'll end with the last thing is basically every single AI mistake or a rework or whatever is identified needs to be reported directly to the board immediately.
That's very important point, so
Yeah.
that we really have that transparency in place. I think we are running out of time, but just quick question to all four of you, if to conclude this, so one piece of advice that you would like to give the audience here, what they should take in next 12 months to successfully integrate AI into their sustainability journey. Yeah, Rashmi, you're on that. You can just let
Yeah,
us.
okay. So I'm saying the moment AI moves into, from say one team using it to an entire company-wide capability, then governance just stops being optional, but it becomes the thing that decides whether your investment in AI pays off or not. So, it has to be basically it's very very important that your leadership is in sync, your policies are in sync, the operating model and the regular assurance of all your AI is in place.
Thank you, Rashmi. Yeah, Survi.
Yeah, I would say making sustainability and AI the ethos of your organization. And as I started in the beginning, how do you weave it into your business decisions such that they're part of your BAU and you are able to measure the value of your outcomes, your investments, and your outcomes in a more meaningful manner?
Yeah. Thanks, Survi. Yes, Deepshika.
Um, I think um, look at where your major pain points are or your major challenges are, and then try and see how AI can be used to help you out over there. I know right now it's a trend, it's a hot trend, and everybody's like, okay, use AI, but it may not be the right fit. And as was also said, it may lead to failure down the line. So don't try to, so look at what you intend to do first, and then try and select what is the right kind of AI for it, and not the other way around.
Absolutely. Yeah, very much. Yes, Nikhil.
Uh, Start, don't wait. There is nothing right or nothing wrong. If somebody is coming to you and telling you this is wrong, that might not be the real case. Yeah, honestly, there is hardly anybody who knows what's really right and wrong. So keep on moving, keep on doing things, and don't be afraid of failures. At some point in time, you're going to see failures, but don't be afraid of it and keep moving. That's very important.
Yeah, that's really nice. Thanks everyone. Just couple of minutes. If any of the questions in the audience, if anyone wants to ask anything quickly,
So, Nikhil,
anyone?
I have a question. Would you share one case study where you have integrated a AI tool in your company, which has saved the cost and also increased the performance?
Is it?
Yeah, I think I can go first here. Like uh, within Deloitte, we are making AI, we are weaving into AI into like say everyday productivity. So I think that's the baseline that as people who are focused on sustainability, how are we using AI to be more productive? How are we developing? How are we using agentic AI to make our solutions, sustainability solutions, more sustainable? Which means how are they faster, cheaper, better? How do we go to market in a more efficient way? But at the root of all of this is have the relevant human in the loop uh, review cycles and it's not like AI can do everything end to end. There, you have to have that. You need to do everything with a grain of salt. You need to validate everything before you actually share it with your clients or make decisions based on the data internally.
You, Survi. Nikhil, would you also like to answer?
Yeah, sure. I think I've already shared many, but I'll share one more that definitely is directly with sustainability, scope 3 emissions. So at JSW Group, we have assessed for the bigger entities, we have assessed our supply chain. And when we did that assessment, there were certain gaps were identified or few were doing good. So we have used AI to generate customized plan of action a short-term and long-term one for every vendor, that what actions they should do over next few months and next couple of years. We did that in the first year. In second year, in the submission, we again used AI to match what they did, what they did not do, and what the plan can be upgraded for. So this is one more use case that we have been using, a very simple one that can leverage. And yeah, everything is as rightly mentioned by Surbi. Human intervention is there, so AI is not taking the decision. AI is giving the direction, but the final decision is by a human.
Thank you. That answers my question. Anyone else has a question? Mr. Ajit?
Yeah, Nikhil, sorry, Nikhil, I have a question for you. Since you did the work for JSW, okay, because I'm basically in the petrochemical and have worked for the steel industry. So, what was the cost? Generally the client asks, suppose how much money you spend for AI, and what are the benefit? They said, what will be the ROI? So, what was your experience in JSW?
Yeah, so here is a unique proposition. We have a dedicated team. So I am dedicated for the whole group: steel, energy, cement, infra, prints, motors, all the businesses, specifically from tech intervention for sustainability, and we drive our sustainability. So our projects are tech intervention for ROI-driven sustainability. So your question is very broad. When you start with a project, there is something that you have to define the output. If you remember in the beginning, I mentioned that you define the problem statement. What AI is going to do, AI is going to accelerate your project and increase your ROI. There are very standard outcomes. So for example, let's take example of power generation. For every state, if you have a captive power plant, you have to estimate what is going to be your demand after every 15 minutes, and it's for next 40th minute you have to tell it to the state state MECTCL, so transmission company. So this estimation is done using, previously it was done manually. Now we have put some tech intervention and is done using AI models. So here is a definite KPI where we can define that what is my current electricity bill, or how many units I'm consuming right now, and how much I want to do after completion of this phase one, phase two, and different phases of the project. And that's immediately comparable. So that way I'm reducing my power bill, power consumption, and contributing to my scope 2 as well. For scope 3, I mentioned there we can define what is going to be my impact, what amount of my supply chain is stressed, where if there is there any of my biggest vendor who is going to be under any kind of different situation, biodiversity situation, water stress area, and is there any alternative that I need to start figuring it out, maybe provide some support to supplier to move the supply chain. These are the things. For scope 1, definitely, these are hard to abate sectors. So what emissions are happening? So I gave an example of what was my flaring. So I know what was my percentage, and now I have set up a new gold standard in the world. It's a globally accepted gold standard. So that is a definite change that I have. With this change, there is a definite amount of money that is going to get saved, because it's a multifold saving, because my flaring is reduced, my internal gas is used. So energy is definitely there are standard formula that you can use, and power is again that is you're again saving on power as a multiplier effect. So holistically there are definite ways you can calculate cost. I think that depends project to project, and it varies from what scale you're looking for, what technology you're looking for. Maybe if you're doing a POC, if it's totally innovation, in certain instances you might want to invest as well, or in certain instances there might be a demonstration to the vendor wants to prove, so they come and they do it by they do their prove their point. There are various models that work. So cost is of course, you would want to have minimum duration to have your ROI in place.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Thank you so much for this session, Prabha. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Rashmi, Nikhil, Dipshika, and Surabhi for this lovely session. I should say that we have 4 women over here. And we have Nikhil. This is a very powerful session that we had. So, thank you so much for your presence, and we look forward to continued engagement. Thank you, Mr. Ajit, for your question as well. As the following session would be a workshop and assignment on integration of building AI tools to integrate into sustainability, and this session would be conducted by Dipshika Dalchand, who has been with us even on the panel. So I would be switching off the live streaming for now, and thank you everyone. Any final words, anybody, if you all want to say?
Yeah, permit me to just add. When you mentioned that the ladies are 4 and they have only 2 men, then it touched my heart. So I need to rescue my people. So I just want to highlight some areas, especially in the issue of building AI into the system. Like I said earlier, you can have like AI agents that can help you to vet invoices, to review procedures. Like in my system, we are doing. Okay, we are into precast industry. Also, we have established this process. We have also used AI tools in order to review procedures. Specifying it into only specific required regulatory bodies and international standards. And as well, we are also using AI to review drawings. So these areas have drastically reduced the man hours used in the work and for manual revisions and other things, thereby improving the productivity. So these areas, I believe also we can use artificial intelligence in order to improve productivity. So this is my little contribution and also my support for the men. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, Harsha, thank you for inviting. And I see sir is doing fantastic work, and so are you. So thank you. And it was really a pleasure to be on such a wonderful panel with wonderful people. And I think it demonstrates that we are working on our goals and diversity is in there. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyways, it's very sorry, go ahead. No, I'm just saying that it is very rare, to find people from the same community of sustainability and ESG, etc. So it's always a pleasure to interact. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Rashmi.
Yeah, and echoing what everybody else said, thank you for giving us this opportunity to present on this really relevant topic, right? And I think I've learned a lot as well from the other panelists. So thank you for such an engaging discussion. Yeah, and I look forward to the workshop now.
Yeah.
Thank you each and
Thank
one.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We
So
will commence the workshop in the next
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah.